11 things all men do when they're in love. In this video, I'm gonna tell you how to know for sure if a guy is in love with you. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. Okay, so questions about how a guy feels are the most popular that I receive, and it's been that way for a decade now. And I get it. When you feel a certain way for someone, you wanna know that those feelings are reciprocated. You wanna protect yourself so you don't end up blindsided by a breakup and with your heart shattered into a million pieces. It's also very easy to say something, but not necessarily mean it. So a guy can say he loves you, but sometimes you feel like there's a disconnect and you don't know if you're just being paranoid and insecure or if maybe this isn't true love. No matter what the case, you wanna know how a guy acts when he's in love. And I am gonna tell you everything you need to know. I'm gonna break it down for you. So make sure you watch this video all the way until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please give it a like. This is such a quick and easy way to help me out and help me grow my channel. It literally takes less than a second. Also, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you have any questions, any feedback, any videos you want to see me make, please leave them in the comment section. And also make sure to follow me on Instagram at A New Mode. Now, if you're a regular here, you know I try to keep my videos short and sweet. I try to pack in as much information as possible, but I can't go on forever. However, if you want more depth on how to get a guy to fall completely head over heels in love with you, then I have good news because me and my partner Eric created a whole system devoted to just that. It is called the Love Formula, and in it we break down exactly how to get a man completely hooked, head over heels, completely devoted to you, and to want to commit himself to you. We also talk about what it takes to have an amazing relationship. If these are things you want to learn more about, then you can download the program right now. You can get it at getloveformula.com, and I will link it down below. So I've created a lot of videos about knowing if a man loves you. What distinguishes this video is that I really went for the things that are universals. Obviously, there's a lot of variability in how guys express their feelings, but I identified the ones that are pretty consistent across the board. So here they are. Number one, he wants to be around you. It's pretty simple. The surest way to know that a guy loves you is that he wants to be around you all the time. Our time is our most precious resource, and who we choose to spend it with reveals a lot about what we value and our priorities. Speaking of, one of the most popular questions I get is from women wanting to know how to get a guy to treat her like a priority. I get this question all the time, and I think I've even created a few videos on this topic. The fact is, if a guy truly loves you, you won't have to do anything to get him to treat you like a priority. You just will be a priority. Remember, talk is cheap. It is so easy to say, oh yeah, baby, I love you so much. But how does he act? How does he show you that he loves you? Men communicate through actions so much more than words, and women get very hung up on the words. So a guy is saying he loves her, but then she's like, I don't feel loved though. And this is when I get the questions in my inbox and in my DMs saying, you know, my boyfriend says he loves me, but he never has time for me. And he's always ditching me to hang out with his guy friends. He's always, leaving me like to do other things. I feel like I'm last on the list. If a guy is acting that way, then chances are either number one, you've just been acting like a doormat and letting him do whatever he wants. He's taking you for granted, but more likely he doesn't truly love you, because if he did, he wouldn't behave that way. He would want to spend most of his time with you. Remember, we make time for the things that matter. Number two, he really listens when you speak. And adding to that, he remembers the details. Look, the fact is, most men are not as detail-oriented as women. But when a guy truly loves a girl, he is gonna pay attention to the things that matter to her, to the things that make her happy. Men are very driven to make a woman happy. We're actually gonna cover this more later on in the video. That is the number one driving force in a man. So anything you tell him, things that are significant, important, meaningful to you, he's gonna store that away and keep that information very readily accessible. But beyond that, he's really gonna listen to you. He's gonna focus on you. He's gonna be locked in on what you have to say because you're important and you matter. Number three, he factors you in. He makes big decisions, even small decisions, with you. He doesn't decide things and then tell you after the fact. Just reminds me of that episode of Sex and the City when Mr. Big tells Carrie, oh, I've decided to move to Paris. And she's like, what? We're in a relationship. You said you loved me. How could you just decide you're moving to Paris? What about me? That's basically what it looks like at play. That relationship was not love. And don't even get me started on that. I'm so tempted to make a whole video about Sex and the City and how it ruined an entire generation and completely gave us these unrealistic standards of life and of love because Mr. Big and Carrie never would have ended up together. But that's a side point. If you want more of my rants. I do a lot of ranting on my Instagram. But anyway, the point is when a guy truly loves you, he factors you in. You are a significant part of his life. You are in his life. You're not someone that is just an afterthought. Like he makes the decisions and then just fills you in after. Number 4, he brings you into his world. So this is a step beyond just introducing you to his friends and family, because a lot of people take that to be as more significant than it actually is. Like, oh, he introduced me to his friends and family. Some guys will introduce their mom to 100 different girls and the mom doesn't care and whatever. Oh, this is just another girlfriend. It's not a big deal to most guys. What is a big deal is if he wants you to really be close with his family. He wants you to be best friends with his sister. He introduces you to, the wives and girlfriends of his best friends, and he wants you to be best friends with those girls. He wants to immerse you in his world. And not only that, he wants to be immersed in your world. He wants to, be best friends with your brother. He wants to have a good relationship with your best friends because you're important to him. When you are in a loving, serious relationship, you're basically working towards coming together and creating a life together, ultimately. I mean, usually that's the ultimate goal. So in order to do that, there really has to be a strong interconnectedness in your worlds. If he keeps you separate from his world, or he doesn't really seem to care if, his friends and family like you or if you like them, then that's a pretty big red flag. It means maybe he doesn't see you sticking around for the long haul. Number 5, he feels safe opening up to you. Vulnerability doesn't come easy to most men, and it's usually something they share for someone who is very special to them. So if he is opening up to you, being vulnerable, sharing his real and raw, authentic self with you, that is a very strong sign that he loves you. One thing I would caution you about is to watch out for emotionally leaky people. Emotionally leaky people will share their deepest, darkest secrets with just about anyone because they don't have a handle on their life, they don't have a grip, and they don't really have a sense of boundaries because they're in such a messy place. And I've known many guys like this. I've dated many guys like this who are just emotional messes. So watch out for that. If someone's revealing their deepest self to you, it usually has to be earned. Like, I went out with this guy a long time ago, and I think on our 2nd or 3rd date, he was telling me some deep secrets, things that no one in his life knew. And I didn't take that to mean oh, this guy really cares about me, he's really sharing himself with me. I just saw that as a huge alarm sign, and I got out of there as quick as possible. So that's just something to be cautious of, because I think sometimes it is easy to feel wow, he feels so connected to me, he's opening up to me. And then as women, we kind of just feel oh, I need to nurture him, I need to heal him because he has all this pain. Definitely be wary of the guys who open up too much too soon. But if you're in an established relationship, things have built slowly and he opens himself to you gradually over time and reveals his true self with you, then that is a sign that he does truly love you. Number 6, he makes you feel safe. There is no worse feeling than being on unsteady ground with a guy that you're in a relationship with. Like that feeling that at any second, the rug can just be pulled out from under you and he could just dump you out of nowhere. You just have no feeling of security. You're always on edge. You're always anxious. You're always looking for signs that things are okay and that everything is fine. You can never just be. You spend time together and he tells you he cares about you, blah, 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 but you just always have this feeling of unease. This is how it feels when you're with a guy who doesn't like you enough, or a guy who has commitment issues, or a guy who is a damage case. I have a whole other video on damage cases. I think the title of that video is Why You Keep Going for Guys That Are Bad for You. So definitely check that out as well if this is a problem for you. It was definitely a problem for me for a long time. And it's the opposite of how it feels with a man who truly loves you. When a guy truly loves you, you know that he is in it to win it. He's not just gonna break up with you on a whim one day. He loves you. He's not going anywhere. He wants to fight for this. And you just have a feeling of calm and ease in the relationship. Number 7, he shows interest in your interests. This doesn't necessarily mean he has to like what you like. For example, I love true crime. I love watching shows about murder, and my husband thinks I'm a psychopath because of it. No, he doesn't actually think that, but he does show an interest in why it is I like this stuff. And it's because my brain is very oriented to solving mysteries. That's why I write about people and relationships for a living, because a lot of it does feel like a big mystery. So he has an interest in why I'm interested in it, even though he definitely does not share that interest. He is totally horrified by true crime and all that stuff that I'm very into. I think he watched one episode of Law & Order SVU with me, and he was just like, why do you like this stuff? This is so disturbing. But whatever, is what it is. We like what we like. The point is, when a guy truly loves you, he at least will show an interest in your interests. And me and my husband do have a lot of shared interests as well, but I mean, he has his stuff that he's interested in, and I'm interested in knowing what interests him about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be completely interested in the same things. When a guy loves you, he wants to know know all about you. He wants to understand you. He wants to know what makes you happy, what you enjoy, why you enjoy it. Number 8, he wants to make you happy. This is a big one, so pay attention. I think I actually wrote a whole chapter on this in my book, 10 Things Every Woman Needs to Know About Men, because that's how important it is. I know it doesn't always feel this way. Believe me, I know. But men are driven to make the woman they're with happy. In fact, I think that is I know that is pretty much the only thing a man needs in a relationship. That and intimacy. That's it. He just needs to make you happy. That is what makes him happy. If a guy genuinely loves you, he will be motivated to make you happy at no matter the cost. Again, it doesn't always feel like it because he doesn't always know. And maybe you're not giving him such clear indications of what it is that you want and what you need from him. And if that's the case, then be more upfront, spell it out for him because he wants to know. And if he does love you, he will. If he finds out what it is that will make you happy, he will do it. He will go for it. He will go above and beyond. If he doesn't really seem to care about your happiness, like at all, if he really just only cares about his experience in the relationship, then either he's just a very selfish person, you don't want to be in a relationship with someone like that, or he doesn't genuinely love you. Number 9, he respects you. In a healthy relationship, you will feel like your emotions are almost always respected and that you are respected as a person. I get so many questions from women who are just being so disrespected and mistreated in their relationships, and they stay. Why? Because he said he loves me and we can't give up on love. We're supposed to fight for love, right? If a guy doesn't treat you with respect, then he doesn't love you. Or maybe he thinks he loves you. Maybe he loves things about you. Maybe he just doesn't really know how to love. That is not a relationship worth being in. A man who truly loves you loves all of you and respects all of you. He respects your ambitions, he respects your opinions, and he respects your boundaries, most important of all. If you don't feel respected in your relationship, then you really need to ask yourself why you even want to be in it in the first place. Number 10, he doesn't give up. Love and relationships are not always easy. It is not just all magic and fairy tale as soon as a guy says, I love you. It's work, it's hard, and it just gets harder as time goes by, honestly. I think the hardest time in my relationship with my husband was when we were engaged. That is when we fought the most. Engagements are just so stressful on every level, and it wasn't a good time for us. But I knew that he wasn't gonna just quit, and I wasn't just gonna quit. Yeah, it was a rocky time. It was very stressful, so unnecessarily so when I think about it, honestly. Like, it's just so crazy how you get so stressed over like the details and the wedding and whatever the case may be. And looking back on it, I laugh about it because it's really silly, like all the stupid arguments that we would have. But we fought for it. We fought to work it out and to work through it. And then once we did get married, we had such an amazing first year of marriage. I mean, all the years of marriage have been amazing, but people always tell you that the first year is the worst, the first year is the hardest. But for us, it was the easiest because we worked it out. The point is, when someone really loves you, they're not gonna give up. They're not gonna give up when it gets hard. It's very easy to be in a relationship when the relationship is easy. And the beginning of a relationship is always easy. You're just flooded with emotions and hormones and dopamine and oxytocin and everything that's going on. And it's just so easy when everything's going well. But how is he when it's not going well? Does he just shut you out? Does he just disappear for like a week and, punish you for whatever the issue was? Does he completely shut down? Does he blame you and say that you're making things too difficult on him? How does he act when things aren't going perfectly smoothly? Because when you love someone, you don't quit. You don't quit. You try to make it work, and you try with all your might. It doesn't mean that it always works out, but at least you tried and you gave it your all. And number 11, they let you know. When a guy truly loves you, he lets you know. If you have to ask, you already know the answer. I use that phrase a lot because it packs a lot of punch, and it's so true. If you're wondering, does he love me? He probably doesn't. Or he probably isn't on the same page as you. Of course, it is always possible that your insecurities are getting in the way and are messing with your mind. And if that's the case, you have to recognize that and you have to identify it. But overall, if a guy loves you, he'll tell you, he'll show it, and you'll just know. And everyone around you will know. And it will just be so clear and obvious. What did you think of this list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I miss anything? Please share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to know what it takes to get a guy to fall head over heels in love with you, if you want to know how to press his psychological buttons so that he is completely devoted to you and only you, then you have to check out our Love Formula system. You can download it right now at getloveformula.com. I will link it down below. Definitely check that out, and I will see you guys in the next video.